In this film, we're going to take a look at how the leaders of Britain's three main political parties have voted in Parliament across a range of policy issues. Our charts will be broken down into for, against and absent. The figure in the middle of each chart represents the number of times each politician has had the chance to vote on that particular subject. The three leaders are Theresa May, Conservative, Jeremy Corbyn, Labour, and Tim Farron, Liberal Democrat. The first policy area we're going to look at is about promoting equal gay rights. Theresa May seems mixed on this subject, but voted against promoting equal gay rights more than she has voted for them. Jeremy Corbyn's voting record strongly supports equal gay rights, having never voted against them. Likewise, Tim Farron also seems to be a strong advocate for equal gay rights, having voted for them 60% of the time. The second policy area is about the right to remain in the UK for EU citizens after Brexit. Each politician has had the chance to vote in this area 12 times. Theresa May has voted consistently against EU citizens' right to stay in the UK after Brexit, totalling 67%. Jeremy Corbyn is mixed on this issue, but is generally more in favour of guaranteeing their right to remain than against. Liberal Democrat Tim Farron is a very strong advocate of EU citizens' right to remain in the UK after Brexit, having consistently voted to uphold their rights. The third policy area is about reducing spending on welfare benefits. As you can see, Theresa May is very strongly for reducing spending across welfare benefits. In contrast, Jeremy Corbyn has consistently voted against any welfare benefits cuts. As a politician of the centre, Tim Farron is split pretty much evenly on this issue, with 31% for and 28% against welfare benefit cuts. The fourth policy area is about paying higher benefits over longer periods of time for those unable to work due to illness or disability. Each politician has had the chance to vote in this area 15 times. Although Theresa May was absent 47% of the time during votes on this subject, she has consistently voted against paying higher benefits over longer time periods for those unable to work due to illness or disability. In comparison, Jeremy Corbyn has not missed a vote on this subject and has consistently voted positively in this policy area. Tim Farron has both voted for and against policies on this subject to a fairly equal degree. The fifth policy area is about increasing the rate of VAT. Each politician has had the chance to vote in this area 26 times. Theresa May's voting record suggests that she has generally been in favour of raising the rate of VAT, although she has voted against it. Jeremy Corbyn is a strong advocate of not raising the rate of VAT, having voted against a rise 73% of the time. Tim Farron has voted for an increase in the rate of VAT 73% of the time, suggesting he's strongly in favour. The sixth policy area is about increasing the tax rate for people earning over £150,000 per year. Each politician has had the chance to vote in this area 12 times. Interestingly, both Theresa May and Tim Farron have consistently voted against increasing the tax rate for earners of over £150,000 per year. However, both have also had large voter absences in this area, each having missed 58% of the chances to vote on the subject. In contrast, Jeremy Corbyn is a strong advocate for raising the rate of tax for high earners, having consistently voted for it. His voting turnout in this policy area is also much higher at 75%. The seventh policy area is about implementing a banker's bonus tax. Theresa May has missed 67% of voting opportunities in this policy area, but has been consistently against it when she has voted. In contrast, Jeremy Corbyn was only absent 6% of the time during voting on this subject. His voting record suggests he is very strongly in favour of implementing a banker's bonus tax, having voted for it 88% of the time. Tim Farron is mostly against a tax on bankers' bonuses, having voted against it 61% of the time, but has voted for it on occasion. The eighth policy area is about reducing the rate of corporation tax. Each politician has had the chance to vote in this area 26 times. Again, Theresa May has consistently voted for reducing the amount of corporation tax levied against companies' profits. Jeremy Corbyn takes the opposite view and 81% of the time has voted against reducing the rate of corporation tax. Tim Farron has generally been for reducing the rate of corporation tax, but has voted against it at times, totalling 16%. The ninth policy area is about reforming the NHS so that GPs buy services for patients. To be clear, the term buying services means purchasing services from the private sector for patients' treatment and care. Both Tim Farron and Theresa May voted identically on this issue. They were absent 43% of the time and voted for reforming the NHS 57% of the time. Jeremy Corbyn attended every vote on this issue and voted overwhelmingly at 100% against proposals to reform the NHS. The 10th policy area is about greater autonomy for schools. Again, Theresa May and Jeremy Corbyn hold completely different views on this subject. Theresa May has voted for greater autonomy 81% of the time, and Jeremy Corbyn has voted against greater autonomy 94% of the time. Tim Farron is generally against greater autonomy, having voted against it 32% of the time. The 11th policy area is about raising the undergraduate tuition fee cap to £9,000. Each politician has only voted on this once. Theresa May voted for the £5,710 a year increase, whereas Jeremy Corbyn and Tim Farron both voted against the policy. The 12th policy area is about implementing a stricter asylum system, asylum being the protection granted by a state to someone who has left their home country as a political refugee. Theresa May's record shows that she is firmly in favour of a stricter asylum system, having consistently voted for it. She also missed 57% of the votes on this subject. Jeremy Corbyn and Tim Farron are both very strongly against a stricter asylum system, Tim Farron voting consistently against this policy area, totalling 83%. The 13th policy area is about measures to prevent climate change. Theresa May missed 52% of voting opportunities in this area, and her record shows that she has voted against measures to prevent climate change more times than she has voted for it. Jeremy Corbyn has voted for measures to prevent climate change 68% of the time. Likewise, Tim Farron voted for measures 61% of the time, showing him to be a strong advocate for climate change prevention. The 14th policy area is about selling off England's state-owned forests. Theresa May's record shows that she is a strong advocate of selling off England's forests to private ownership, having voted for it 100% of the time. In contrast, Jeremy Corbyn is a strong advocate of keeping England's state-owned forests, having voted against it 100% of the time. Tim Farron missed one vote on this subject, but then voted to keep Britain's forests under public ownership. The 15th policy area is about greater regulation of hydraulic fracturing, or fracking. Each politician has had the chance to vote in this area 4 times. Theresa May seems to be against greater regulation of fracking, having voted against it 50% of the time, and having missed the vote 50% of the time. Jeremy Corbyn's voting record on greater regulation of fracking is split 50-50, as is Tim Farron's, although Tim Farron missed 2 votes on the subject. The 16th and last policy area we're going to look at is about phasing out secure housing tenancies for life. Theresa May missed 80% of the voting opportunities in this area. However, when she did vote, she voted consistently to phase out secure housing tenancies. Both Jeremy Corbyn and Tim Farron voted identically and overwhelmingly at 80% against phasing out secure tenancies. I hope this film will help viewers see past the party political rhetoric and make an informed decision on June the 8th, with a greater understanding of each party leader's history and priorities. All statistics used in this film came from the website They Work For You and can be verified at theyworkforyou.com.